Sometimes we lose valuable pieces of history because they're not recorded, not handed down, or they just crumble away over time. But sometimes we get lucky, and what seemed to be lost is suddenly found. That's what happened back in 1989 at the Burning Tree Golf Course in Heath. A crew digging a new pond uncovered some bones that were unlike anything they'd ever seen before. What happened next was an archaeologist's dream, and the team at the Ohio History Connection wanted to share that discovery.
We're at the Ohio History Connection, where they have a lot of collections they put in storage, and a lot of the public doesn't get to see them. But today they're allowing us to come into their vault to see one of their collections. Let's go. Well, Dave and Brad, I'm really excited about our collection today. We're in the ancient history storage space, and we're looking at, looks like, at bones. What are we looking at here?
Well, right here we're looking at teeth of a mastodon and a woolly mammoth.
And are these real?
These are actual real teeth, yep. These date probably 10 to 14,000 years old.
And what's the difference between a mammoth and a mastodon?
Yeah, that's a good question because a lot of people think that they see a mastodon skeleton, they think it's a woolly mammoth, but they're actually quite different. And one thing you'll notice on the teeth is that these have really rounded cusps. And that's a lot different than you'd see on the tooth of the woolly mammoth, which has a real flat grinding surface for chewing. So that just kind of reflects the difference in their food habits.
Was there a difference in size?
Yeah, the mastodon got to about 8 to 10 feet tall. And if you've seen the mastodon skeleton we have on exhibit at the Ohio History Connection main museum building, it's about a 10-foot mastodon, so it's extremely large for mastodons. And mammoths are about 10 feet and a little bit higher than 10 feet. And kind of the difference too, you can see it pretty clearly on the diagram, where mammoths have kind of a high head, kind of a high hump on their head. They have a long sloping back, where the mastodon has more of a straight back. It doesn't have that higher head like that. And a mammoth also has longer tusks. It has longer, more curved tusks than the mastodon has.
So which came first, the mammoth or the mastodon?
Well, that's an interesting question. It depends on how far back you want to look at the early ancestors of these two species, but they diverged about 24 million years ago. So you have this evolutionary line where the mastodons diverge off to their own group, and they separated from the elephants, the true elephants. So mammoths and modern elephants are in the same family, and mastodons are so different, they're in their own family.
Were humans around at that time? Who was living here?
People were certainly living here at the same time as both of these, and there's some good evidence that they hunted these in Ohio. We know they hunted mammoths out on the plains and mastodons as far east as Mississippi, but we think there's evidence that the Burning Tree mastodon was hunted in Ohio as well.
These aren't real, right? Are these casts?
Yeah, the actual Burning Tree mastodon skeleton is in the Kanagawa Prefectural Museum in Yokohama, Japan. The owner sold it to that museum, but he made molds of the bones and casts and has sold cast replicas. This one just recently got donated to us.
Well, I know this is just a small part of what you have. Don't you have more that you've excavated to show us?
Yes, indeed.
All right, well, let's go. Wow, this is a lot of bones.
These are the cast bones, replica bones of the Burning Tree mastodon.
Wow, can you talk a little bit about the whole excavation process? How did you find out about it, and how did you become involved?
The Ohio History Connection was called by the owner, who actually was excavating on his golf course to expand a 9-hole golf course to an 18-hole golf course. This was found in an area that had probably been a lake that had filled in over the years. It's a kettle lake. I think that's what geologists call it. Right. And it had filled in, but it was still really mushy. And they were digging it out to make a water hazard for the new golf course and hit these bones. And we got a call that said, we found some big bones, can somebody come out and look at them? I assumed it was going to be a cow or a horse. Came out that first day, freezing cold, and the mastodon's head was visible, the skull was visible. So I was like, wow, this is awesome. Can you like cover it back up and we'll dig it up in the spring? And the owner said, nope, you got to dig it up now or I'm going to dig it up. So we marshaled a team, came out and took 2 days to remove all the bones because it was a nearly complete skeleton. We moved the bones to a laboratory facility. Really, the whole community of Newark came together on this, and the school board gave us what had been the Licking County Tuberculosis Sanitarium, which they had just purchased to be their administrative center, and they let us use the laundry room in the basement as a lab. So we transported the bones from the Burning Tree Mastodon site to that laundry room where we stored the bones for a long period of time, curating them, rotating them so that they wouldn't degrade, washing them, processing, cataloging them, things like that took place there.
So the owner gave you the opportunity to sort of research it. How long did they give you?
Mr. Byers gave us 2 years, and at first we didn't know how long it would be, but he basically let us do anything we wanted. We radiocarbon dated the bones, which meant destroying a portion of the bone. We got a sample of it, and he let us do that and let us use all kinds of different scholars to study the bones and the sediments that were found with the bones. So that was great. That gave us an opportunity to learn a lot about this animal that we never would have known.
So what have you been able to learn about this particular mastodon from studying it?
Well, we know it lived to be about 27 years old, which is a young but mature male. We think it died under suspicious circumstances. It may have died of natural causes, but probably not, because we know it had a full stomach, so it didn't starve. It died actually in early winter, late fall, and we know that from the growth rings of the tusks. That's how we also know the age. But all those things say it wasn't a period of part of the year that was very stressful for mastodons. So young, mature, healthy, probably shouldn't have died at this particular time. It leads us to the conclusion that it was probably killed by ancient indigenous American Indians here that archaeologists refer to as Paleo-Indians because they lived a long time ago, and paleo means old.
So you talked about it being young. How long do they typically live?
Well, they live to be 60 or 70 years old, like elephants probably. Those would be really old animals. So this is a young, mature male.
So there are a lot of parts here. Can you point out what some of them are?
Yeah, let's take a look at a couple of bones. Well, this is a foot. This is a articulated foot where they put all the casts together to make one complete foot. And this is a hind foot. You can tell because this is actually the heel bone. And one I really like too, a lot of times on tours we'll show this to people and say, do you know what bone that is? And you get all kinds of guesses, but it's actually the kneecap, or it's called the patella. And then there's all sorts of other bones. We have like the shoulder blades back here. We also have the ulna, which is one of the bones in the forearm here. And up here, these are pretty obvious. These are the tusks of the animal. They're a little bit shorter, so if this is a woolly mammoth, this tusk would be probably more like 12 feet long. It'd be quite a bit longer and have much more of a curve to it. That's the skull, and this is, as Brad talked about, this is what was originally first found when they were excavating the site. They hit the backhoe operator hit the skull like this, and you can see all the teeth there.
This is one of the finger bones. It's actually the ring finger of the left hand. There's a tendon that runs along here that helps you move your fingers and things. And there are cut marks, very clear, things that we interpret as cut marks, very narrow, deep incisions that Dan Fisher, the archaeologist, or actually a paleontologist from the University of Michigan, one of the world's experts on mastodons, helped us study this mastodon. He concluded that this was probably used perhaps to kill a mastodon and then slice it to remove that tendon, and then the toes would have been pulled off with the hide. So many of the toes we don't have for the animal, and we think those might have gone with the hide. And then the bones were brought to the lake then, deposited in the lake in 3 separate piles, probably for use as a Ice Age meat freezer.
Now, when they find something, if it's on your own property, is there some sort of law in place that you have to give it to someone, or is it yours?
You know, if it's found on your property, it's your possession. And there's no law that says anybody, the state or anybody else, can come in and take things that are on your private property. So assuming it's not like human remains, then it's your property.
Have we learned everything we can learn from what we've collected so far, or do you think there's more to learn?
You know, there's always more to learn. And really looking at any of these ancient animals and the whole history of the Ice Age, each find is like an individual puzzle piece. So we're trying to assemble all these pieces and get a complete picture of what the animals were, how they lived, how they died, how were the human interactions, how does the climate relate to their demise, and a number of research interests.
Well, thank you so much for sharing the story of this mastodon. I think it really fills in a lot of ancient history for people, and I hope it makes them curious just about where we came from and what was here before. So thank you so much for sharing your information with us.
Yeah, thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
Compared to prehistoric times, you wouldn't think Columbus has lost much history since the 1950s. But the 1953 Historic Landmarks brochure from the Franklin County Historical Society shows quite a few notable sites that don't exist anymore except on paper. Architectural historian Jeff Darby decided to check out a few of these places for himself.
In the 1953 handbook that the Franklin County Historical Society put out, it cited all kinds of local landmarks. Some still exist, others don't. We're going to visit one where the building isn't around, but we can still learn some things about Franklinton and the history of our city. Okay, Doreen, here we are on West Broad Street in Franklinton, by a cyclone fence with a roaring freeway behind us. So what are we seeing here?
Columbus history, of course.
Of course.
If you can't go to an abandoned lot to find Columbus history, where can you go?
Indeed.
Not many cities take the time to tear down the home of their city's founder, except in Columbus. In the 1950s, it was still very much a landmark. To come by here, the house would not necessarily have existed. And there was a plaque on the boulder that's behind me that explained all of this.
And this was Lucas Sullivan's house?
This was Lucas Sullivan's house, who came to this area as a surveyor for the U.S. government after the American Revolution, for which he was going to receive probably thousands of acres in his own land. He's going to found the settlement of Franklinton in 1797 and bring other people in here. But he also was in the process of finally establishing himself at a home. And he went back to Kentucky to marry a young woman. Sarah came and joined him here. And for her, he built a beautiful brick house. The house was here for the life of the Sullivan family. But for the last 100 years, from before the Civil War, and as Lucas Sullivan, the family dispersed, it was given to the Sisters of the Good Shepherd. And they ran a convent essentially for troubled girls. The sisters lasted here for 100 years in the Sullivan home. And there was a woman who was a real advocate for keeping that Sullivan house. Her name was Fern Zetti. Her family dated back to really the settlement of Franklinton. And she spoke about saving this as a park. She tried to convince the city fathers, the Parks and Recreation. They said no, the Franklin County Historical Society didn't have the money to buy the house. And the piece de resistance was the federal government gave $595,000 to get the house, to essentially knock it down and relocate the sisters to Mifflin Township.
There are properties from the 1953 booklet that are still standing that we could go see, so let's go see some of those.
Yeah, and maybe the object lesson is we take away from here is that preservation did change after the 60s and then later at the 70s. And this is a good reminder that plaques sometimes disappear, but they're still important to remember.
We better go have a look.
Okay.
We're headed west into downtown Columbus on West Broad Street in Franklinton. There are some significant landmarks still standing. One of my favorites is the Toledo and Ohio Central Railroad Station, built in the 1890s, and today it is the headquarters for the Firefighters Union. What else would you add, Doreen?
Well, I think we're coming really down to the heart of downtown where, of course, buildings like the Levesque would have been here, which is coming up on the left, the Levesque Tower, and then on the right, the Wyandotte Building, which was one of, not the first actually, but one of the first skyscrapers in Columbus.
Well, let's see, we're passing the Empire Building, an office building downtown, and the Cathedral is coming up. on the south side of Broad Street. Coming up on our left is the Franklin County Memorial Hall. People may remember this as the headquarters of COSI before it moved to the riverfront some years ago. And we're also coming up on the right with the Seneca Hotel, which was a hotel that lasted into, I think, at least into the 1960s as a hotel, became headquarters of the Ohio EPA, and has since been redone as a great example of reuse of a historic building as apartments. So there's a lot to be proud of things that we have accomplished in saving important landmarks and keeping the character of the city intact. Also in the 1953 book was the Museum of Art. Still, it was known as the Columbus Gallery of Fine Arts at one time, and now it's the Columbus Museum of Art. And it is, of course, still part of the community. It's been expanded. It's a wonderful cultural institution. Well, Doreen, we've seen some empty sites. We've seen some sites with well-preserved historic buildings. What else should we have a look at here in Columbus?
Well, by turning off Broad Street and heading north on Cleveland Avenue, we're actually coming to a site that was very popular for people in the 50s and 60s to visit, and that is Fort Hays, which was a military base actually since the 19th century, since around the Civil War. But by the 50s and 60s, people would have had one thought in mind, and that is World War II and the Korean War. This is a place that affected their lives, and this is where they had loved ones, so it was important.
Okay, here we are, Fort Hays, Metropolitan Center. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Eric, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
It's great to see you.
Welcome.
And this is Jeff Darby.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Jeff. How are
Eric,
you?
Eric East.
Nice to meet you.
This is his domain, his classroom. Thank you for having us here today, because you are part of a long chain of landmarks in Columbus that people wanted to always get into. So there were guidebooks written in the 20s, but one we're focusing on is in the 50s.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if you might have thoughts about why this would have been so important in the 50s for people to have a connection to see with their own eyes.
We have been, in my experience, been contacted by community members who have spent time here in the service. Family members, survivors. In fact, this was an active military post up until about 2008. And students learned here alongside regular and reserve Army soldiers going to and from the Middle East. I believe that the post was starting to be decommissioned by the end of the Vietnam War. So post 1975, they started decommissioning the place. It went into surplus. It wasn't long after that that the post was sold to Columbus Public Schools, and a career center and a small arts-based alternative school was opened here in between 1978 and 88. The high school itself officially opened in 1988. I believe the first graduates were 1992, and we've been going strong ever since.
One of the things that fascinates me about this is that there are various parts on Fort Hays where you can see the Civil War. There are a few buildings left, but the majority of the buildings come in, I believe, around the Spanish-American War. And so the space that we're in right now, can you tell us how this space was used? And am I correct that it's about 1890s?
Yes, I believe you are correct. Working with local archivists and historians, we've determined that many of the buildings, the brick buildings you'll see at the post now, many of them, not all, date to around the time of the Spanish-American War, so late 1890s, early 1900s, this building included. This building would have been a non-commissioned officers' barracks to the south of us, which is now Columbus City Schools Central Enrollment Office. Mm-hmm. That was the actual barracks halls for the buck privates and the new recruits.
And that's kind of interesting too, because when we drove in, there's a lot of open in space,
Yes.
and there were a lot more buildings at one point.
Yes.
I noticed behind you on the wall there is a model that was built by a veteran, wasn't it, or a soldier?
This wooden map that you see behind me was made by a soldier that was stationed here, and it hung in the post commanding officer's office. This is what the post would have looked like circa 1960. And I have it hanging in my room because there are points on the map that they recognize. And then they look closer and they see buildings that are no longer there, represented in the map. And it makes for an interesting conversation and an entryway into a discussion about the history of this place. I'm an American history teacher. I teach U.S. history and I teach about the Spanish-American War. The students find it particularly interesting when I say the very room you're sitting in right now was a place where soldiers lived and worked. The iconic shot tower, the building that this place is most known for, dates back to the Civil War. It has that institutional military look that's unmistakable. I think that look lends an air of permanence and I think importance to this place that really you only find in the grand old schoolhouses of the 1920s and early 20th century. So I'm grateful to be working here for that reason, especially as an American history teacher.
Thank you, Eric, for inviting us in. It's wonderful to see you.
Likewise.
Eric, thank you. I was glad to meet you, and thank you for the legacy you're keeping here and the way you're transmitting the importance of this place to the students you teach.
My pleasure.
Sometimes you can find treasures in the most random places. For instance, how about finding an extensive photo collection in a barn? That actually happened, and Lorraine Wilmers at the Columbus Metropolitan Library shares more about that story.
We are looking at a picture of Edmund and Elizabeth Aris. They are in their backyard at 1653 Bryden Road. They lived there from about 1914 until about 1920. We received this collection as a donation. Someone found it in a barn in Grove City. The barn had flooded and several of the images had either stuck together or been damaged. And so we took it upon ourselves to try and preserve as much as we could from the collection. Edmund Aris was born in Dayton in 1875. We think around in his teens, his family moved to Columbus and he attended Central High School. He went on to go to the Ohio State University to study law. In 1891, to help pay for school, he started his own rental agency. And when he finally graduated in 1896, he only practiced law for 4 years because his rental agency took off. In 1897, he married Elizabeth Filey McDermott. So he and Elizabeth were involved in many civic and church organizations, one of them being the Sunday School Association, which took them to Europe in 1913 for the World Sunday School Organization meeting. It was in Zurich, Switzerland, but they also took a few months out of their busy lives to travel Europe. He would take photos of the maps of where he was traveling and then mark all of the spots in the route that they took to get there. What's so important about that is he took many photos of the cities before World War I. So we have images of things that no longer exist because of the war. So then Edmund was elected president of Kiwanis International in 1923. That took he and Elizabeth across the country. They visited every state that was a state then, except for Alaska, and all of the provinces in Canada. The great thing about that was he took his camera with him and also recorded that trip. So we have several images of Yellowstone National Park, the Grand Canyon. So he not only took pictures of outside, but he took pictures of things where they stayed. So this is the lounge in Yellowstone National Park at that time. And Edmund passed away in 1951. He left Elizabeth a rental agency, which she ran until her death in 1969. The Aris collection that we have consists of over 4,000 lantern slides, negatives, and photographs. You can find it on My History. He has his very own collection there.
Thanks for being with us. And remember, you can catch all of our episodes on YouTube or columbusneighborhoods.org. Plus, see our stories on the WOSU mobile app. And you can follow us on social media. We'll see you back here next week on Columbus Neighborhoods.